Hello and welcome everyone, it's Capcan and we're continuing looking for the talent trees in upcoming Dragonflight expansion, talent trees for classes in upcoming Dragonflight, and today we will look at the Fury tree. Because we've already looked at the warrior tree in arms part, I think I will just split the video with arms in two, making one for the global warrior tree, because they're all the same for, or they're almost the same for other subclasses. There are some talents missing because they probably don't want to give like battle stance to Fury Warrior and stuff like that. But still, mostly the talent tree for the main class part is the same. And then the subclasses, of course, are completely different, and I'll probably make different videos. One will be focused on the warrior tree, and 3 other videos will be focused only on subclasses, only on subclass trees. So let's start with Bloodlust, our core ability. Assault the target with a bloodthirsty rays, restoring 3% of your health. That's completely fine. Raging Blow, of course, that's 2 of the main rotation skills. I don't really know how can you not give them to your players, therefore they are definitely must have. In this, Enrage increases your haste by 15% and increases your movement speed by 10%. Is it additionally? I guess they couldn't really take that from Enrage, could they? Or maybe could they? Okay, so Enrage the regeneration, so healing and restoring more health with Bloodthirst, usable while stunned, our defensive cooldown, probably must have as well. Execute no longer costs rage and now generates 20 rage. Oh, cool. There are a condemned version of this one. Anger management, reckless abandon. Oh no, there's completely. I don't. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So that's cool. Execute no longer costs rage and generates 20 rage. That's very, very cool, because now you can weave it in your rotation way better. Or was it in Fury already like that? Man, I can't remember. I didn't play Fury as much in Shadowlands. I played it in BFA, then a little bit in Shadowlands. So, shit. Probably would have been better if I knew what this thing does. Is there already in-game part of the execute? Bloodthirst damage increased by 10%. Not very cool, but I guess we need it for these talents. Fresh meat. Bloodthirst always enrages you for the first time you strike a target, and it has a 15% increased chance to trigger enrage. Increased chance to trigger enrage. So that's definitely good for open world. It's probably good for mythic, not really raids, and don't really think that that's good for PvP, but well, again. Warpaint. You take 10% reduced damage while Enrage is active. That was talent currently. Enrage regeneration lasts 25% longer and instantly heals for 20%. Reduces damage taken by 30%, and Bloodthirst restores an additional... Oh, so there's additional heals for 20% of your maximum health, I guess. Alright. Sudden Death. Your attacks have a chance to reset the cooldown of Execute and make it usable on any target regardless of their health. Again, that's the talent that we currently have already. Improved Raging Blow. Raging Blow has 2 charges and has a 20% chance to instantly reset on its cooldown. Cruelty. While enraged, Raging Blows deal 15% more damage and has a 30% chance to instantly reset its own cooldown. Right, Cruelty, Rampage. Oh, I don't really think that you can live without the Rampage as Fury Warrior. Let's be real here. Enrages you, but man, there can be people that don't know how to build their characters that will just completely forget about this part of the tree and don't take rampage. And they wouldn't like look up any guys, nothing like that. They will go and just go left, or just go right, or just go left and right and fuck the center. Man, it's probably gonna be fun and unfun in that ways. There are probably not as much people like that in the game left. Most of the people who play WoW, they know WoW already, they played it for a long time already, and they probably wouldn't really do such mistakes. They will probably look up the guides, they will follow the meta and all that stuff like that. But still, though, there will be probably some people for whom this part of the game, this extended talent tree, will be an additional layer of complexity of getting in the game. I'm not saying that the game is hard to get in. It's hard to get in the hard end game content where your choices are really matter, and when you need to be precise, where you need to know how to play, what to do, and all that stuff. So just in order to play open world content, normal dungeons, heroic dungeons, LFR, of course you don't really need to be efficient at all. But for this, for the M+ and heroic raids and stuff like that for PvP, yeah, some people probably will get fucked in some ways. Your auto attacks have no penalty to hit from dual wielding during enrage. Interesting. And Rampage itself, this talent cruelty we already saw. Single-minded fury. While dual wielding a pair of one-handed weapons, your damage done is increased by 5% and your movement speed is increased by 5%. I'm not really good into calculations about how 5% increase is better or not than the damage on two-handed weapons. Increases auto attack damage with one-handed weapons by 5%, and your auto attack critical strikes have a 50% chance to enrage you. Oh, so that's gonna be even faster fury, I guess. Holy shit, it's very cool that they're giving us choice in order to go one-handed or two-handed, and you can even express yourself somehow in the talent tree. Bloodthirst critical strikes generate, I don't really know if this will be efficient, but if you want to do that, it probably will be at least somewhat viable, at minimum somewhat viable. Maybe it will be the most efficient stuff to do, I don't know, but it's really cool to see. Bloodthirst critical strikes generate 4 additional rage and inflict a gushing wound that leeches some health over 6 seconds. Okay. Maybe there was something similar in the talents right now. I can't remember. Bloodthirst deals 25% increased damage to enemies who are below 35% health. Blood Craze. Bloodthirst increases the critical strike chance of your next Bloodthirst by 10%. Man, so much emphasis on increasing your blood rage, Bloodthirst damage. Holy shit. Do they want to do it like a good ability that you're pressing in your scene? Damage should be done. You throw down a skull banner at your feet, empowering your enemies, and increases critical strike damage by 20% for party members. Yeah, so that's the banner we have in arms as well. Bloodborne. Bleed damage of Audience Fury, Thunderous Roar, and Gushing Wound increased by 30%. Okay, let's go with Blood Craze. Oh, still can't do that. Man, maybe it's even better to go with it like by section by section, and not line by line. Okay, so now Rampage section. Frenzy. Rampage increases your haste by 2% for 12 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. This effect is reset if you rampage a different primary target. Oh, so that's more of a boss passive. Rampage has a 35% chance to refund a charge of Raging Blow. Okay. Raging Blow and Annihilator cause every strike of your next Rampage to deal an additional 10% of an additional damage, or an additional 3% of damage taken up to 5 times. That's some kind of a bursty stuff as well. So this is probably more of a single target increases, and recklessness go berserk increases all rage generation by 100% and granting your abilities 20% increased critical strike chance for 12 seconds. Yeah, good as hell. Ashen Juggernaut. So now that's our Raging Blows increase. Okay, Ashen Juggernaut. Execute increases the critical strike chance of execute by 10% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times and 0.5 second cooldown. Improved Whirlwind. Whirlwind causes your next 2 single target attacks to strike up to 4 additional targets for 45% damage. Whirlwind no longer costs rage, instead it generates 3 rage plus an additional 1 per target hit maximum rage. So Whirlwind is not improved by the spec. Whirlwind, it's not improved by default. Basic Whirlwind costs 30 rage, unleashes a Whirlwind of steel, striking all enemies for some small amount of damage, deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Shit, so if you're not taking this talent, your Whirlwind just shit and you don't have AoE damage? So this is that's like the must-have talent in order to be able to AoE enemies down on Fury. And Mid-Cleaver Whirlwind deals 25% more damage and now affects your next 4 single target melee attacks instead of the next 2 attacks. Holy shit, thank you so much. Oh my god, that's so cool. That's so fucking cool because, man, you, at least for my taste, when you're casting Whirlwind, some attack, Rampage, Whirlwind, some attack, Whirlwind, some attack, Rampage, it was so fucking frustrating to cast Whirlwind so much, and Whirlwind never deals any damage by itself. It's just like an additional button for you to deal damage with other skills. It's cool interaction, but it doesn't have cooldown. It's spammy. I guess you can enjoy this playstyle for some time, but for my own taste, not for long enough, definitely. And this talent is very cool. 4 single target melee attacks. It doesn't give Whirlwind any cooldown. It gives it more damage, so it's like must have thing for the AoEing and Mythic Plus, definitely. I don't know about, maybe for PvP you wouldn't take this stuff because you're not really using Whirlwind in order to, well, yeah, you maybe use it in like BGs or stuff, but maybe for a far lesser extent in the arenas. And you're probably using Whirlwind less in boss fights where you can use this and this parts of your tree way more. So that's, again, that will definitely fuck up some people who don't know about the Whirlwind itself and who don't know about inherent ways that the spec works by itself. And those people, yeah, they would definitely need to either to read a guide or to be clever enough to understand that this shit is fucking OP when you need to deal AoE damage, and without it you're not really dealing any AoE damage. But still, for the people who knows that how it works, and for the probably core audience of the WoW itself, the choice here is very cool, and I really like it. Now, so Breath and Fury, damage of Raging Blow increased by 5%. Ashen Juggernaut we've already read. Execute is now usable on targets below 35% health, and its cooldown is reduced by 1.5 seconds. So still has cooldown. And again, threshold is better. Raging Ornaments. Raging Blow gains an extra charge. Okay, so you really can tailor your rotation for yourself, and you probably can get very different feels of the spec when you're specing one tree layout compared to another, and that's very cool because getting some additional stacks of the abilities, getting some abilities that generate rage instead of like costing it, getting less cooldown on that or less cooldown on this, it's way more interesting than just getting more haste rating than getting lower cooldowns on everything. And like the one when you're just getting haste and not as much of a interesting choices, you're just getting linear progression where your character feels the same effectively. And here you can, if you don't like something, if you don't like some spells, if you think that you can make more damage doing this thing or that thing, it's very cool that you can like go in one or other or another direction. Yeah, but there's a lot of points that you've given, which means that probably you can take like 60-70% of the talents, maybe less. I'm not very good at calculating stuff. So, critical thinking. Critical strike chance increased by 1.5%, and raging blows damaging critical strike deal 5% increased damage. So crit multi for raging blows again in talent part in part of talent tree where you're increasing your raging blows, there's a multiplier for your critical raging blows. Increasing haste, just like in arms tree, and annihilator generate an additional 1 rage. Man, I don't really know what annihilator is, and that's probably bad, but I didn't really... Maybe that's one of the passives here, which I've probably lost the name of. Okay, so something great generates you additional rage, and it gives you haste. And mastery increased by 1.5% and bloodthirst cooldown reduced by 0.75. So here you go full in bloodthirst, here you go in raging blows and AoE, here you can take some one-handed stuff, here you go into single target damage and increasing rampage. Again, some choices over here. Now, Storm of Swords, Whirlwind and Slam. Whirlwind and Slam have 6-second and 12-second cooldowns, but deal 100 and 200% increased damage. Slam also generates 20 rage. Holy shit, that's the thing that will definitely pair up. So they have 12 seconds cooldown. In 12 seconds, you're definitely making far more than 4 single target melee attacks, which means that with mid cleaver, this thing still gives you... Oh no, Whirlwind has 6 seconds cooldown. It's Slam that has 12 seconds cooldown. So with this talent, you really can make your Whirlwind deal at least... you can feel the damage that it will deal, and that's very cool. And it will allow you for a way less spammy gameplay style. You will have additional cooldown that generates rage and probably deals pretty good damage. It will change your rotation for sure. That's very cool. I very like this tree, and I'll probably want to play Fury Warrior. To be honest, it's way more interesting than Arms 1. Even though Arms 1 is not bad, and I'm not shitting on it in any way or form. Annihilator. Your auto attacks with one-handed weapons deal an additional 20% physical damage. So that's for your one-handed build. And Fury, man, that would be so cool, because now you can, if this part of tree works, and by calculations you can make yourself do good damage with one-handeds, there's gonna be such a cool visual variety of stuff you can equip on yourself. And it was so frustrating that you can only use two-handeds and tighten grip them on Fury. With one-handeds, man, it's gonna look so cool. I very much liked it. Audience Fury unleashes your power, dealing 75% attack power plus 75 attack power plus 60. Well, big amount of damage. And an additional damage, physical damage over 4 seconds to all enemies within 12 yards. Generates 20 rage, so 45-second cooldown. So one more big damage cooldown, AoE cooldown for bursty cooldown for the Fury, which is cool. I don't know how it looks, but it generates rage. That's just pretty cool ability. Audience Fury increases your auto attack speed by 30% for 10 seconds, and placeholder talent to take otherwise. Swift Strikes increase haste by... Oh yeah, I've read this. Choose one. Anger Management. Every 20 rage you spend reduces the remaining cooldown of Recklessness. We had that in the past. And Reckless Abandon. Recklessness generates 50 rage and greatly empowers Bloodthirst and Raging Blow. We definitely had this part either built inside Reckless Abandon by itself. So I definitely can recall that you have empowered versions of Bloodthirst and Raging Blow while you're using some of your DPS cooldowns on Fury. I don't really know if that's Recklessness, but it probably is. And yeah, that's not something new, it's something cool. And again, it's something where they give you a choice, which is awesome for my taste. A Rampage has a 20% chance to grant Recklessness for 4 seconds. Again, I guess this talent or something similar to that we already had, where you can get Recklessness just by proccing something. And Recklessness lasts 4 seconds longer. Okay, Onslaught. Brutally attack an enemy for 151% physical damage and become enraged for 5 seconds. So 18-second cooldown. Oh, and no cost and generates 20 rage. So wait a second. So we have AoE skill under the not single target completely part, but we have it under the Bloodthirst one-handed part of the tree. And then we have a single target hard-hitting ability with a low cooldown, well, somewhat a low cooldown for that amount of damage that generates rage, and it is under the more of an AoE centric part of the tree. That's a design choice, maybe. I don't know how it will. Well, of course you can, yes, you can go through the middle part and you can just slide it off here and get your single target ability, or you can go through you can get all here and go through the middle part and slide it over there and get your AoE ability. So it's all flexible, it's cool. It's just a little bit unexpected. Ravager throws a whirling weapon at the target location that crushes nearby enemies, inflicting physical damage to all enemies over 12 seconds, deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets. And if I recall correctly, Fury doesn't have Blade Storm class. No Blade Storm, probably. Only Whirlwind. Which means... unleashes a Whirlwind of Steel? Yes. Which means that now we have other variation of Blade Storm in the Ravager upgraded version. Pretty cool, I guess. Generates Stain Rage each time it deals damage. I don't know how it will play on the spec itself, but it's cool, and it's one more bursty AoE cooldown for Fury again. Pulverize. Did I read this? Yeah, that's for Recklessness, that's for one-handeds, and for switching your playstyle to a more bursty one. Here we have already 2 active abilities. One DPS cooldown for a single target, one for AoE. Onslaught enrages you and enrage. Now, Onslaught enrages you. That's not Onslaught, wait. Onslaught is this. Become enraged. Wait a second. it enrages you anyway. Onslaught enrages you, and enrage now lasts 1 second longer. Just plus 1 second? It probably doesn't enrage you by default. That's what I'm guessing. And this talent gives it an enrage. Maybe. Or maybe there's some... Well, it's work in progress. What do you want? Choose one. Storm of Steel. Ravager's damage is reduced by 50%, but it now has 2 charges. And while Ravager is active, Bladestorm, every 1 second you gain... while Ravager is active, every 1 second you gain 5% movement speed and 5% strength, stacking lasts 6 seconds. We saw something similar to this thing. Yes. Man, I like this talents. I think that you're gonna have so much variety. You'll have so much fun playing with different tastes of the Fury, of the any probably class that have good talent trees. And I know that Blizzard are making adjustments. They're trying to do better job there. They're going pretty good on Feral or other, I don't know which part of the Druid tree. I know that they're making some adjustments to priest trees after the feedback from the community, and that is so good. I really hope that they manage to do everything right, that they will hear from the people, they will test it out, and there will be a plenty of playstyles to go through while you're playing the game, and it will prolong so much the gameplay itself, for at least for me. Maybe for some people not, maybe they will just stick to 1 or 2 builds, and depending on the situation, but I will tinker with all this stuff constantly. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next videos. Bye.